Oh, hello. Welcome to this chat. Once again, Sunday chat this time. Of course, on my channel, we travel. We like to travel everywhere in each country. Now we are in UK, residing in UK. So, yeah, we're going to talk comics. We talk whatever we want, actually, to be honest. So feel free, whatever comes in mind. Hopefully you guys had a good reading week. I always like do all sorts of things, and so I'm kind of busy. But I had read some stuff which is exciting me. Like always, I get kind of giddy and kind of pissed off, which I'll come up with something. I think Terrence gave me that book, but he didn't give me the two books. It's supposed to be in the story, and I got like, I don't have this, and I can't find it. How dare you? But anyway, we'll talk about it. But who wants to start? Earl Grey, do you want to kick off? Yeah, let's start from. But
okay,
I'll give you a full screen attention to all of you. Okay.
Oh,
hang on.
Since we just spoken about it, I just finished the video today. I just had to make it because I've read a ton of stuff this week and the week before. So yeah, if I don't do this video, I won't never do it. And I've met some guy. Yeah, here we have him. And he's called Terrence.
Nice.
He
must be the best character in the book.
Yeah, absolutely. And he even get a double-page splash.
Oh, beautiful. Well deserved.
And it's just the peak of silliness in this book here. Terrence the Vomit Man. It's a poor man who was he was a decent man before, but then he got injured and turned into puke.
The similarities are staggering.
Absolutely, it's something to put on your business card, I guess.
Right.
But like with Madman, always in the end, even the most dangerous situation is solved pretty quickly. So this Vomit Man here is shrunken into this glass and doesn't harm not another person here anymore. So yeah, and to top this, our Madman, I will talk a bit about what this character is actually about in a sec. But here we have him minimized, and maybe you can guess what's happening.
No!
Exactly that. And nasty. And I don't want to say that this is the stuff that I enjoyed most in this book here. But I had a bit the impression that Michael Allred wrote himself a bit into a corner. It's silliness on top of silliness. So this was right before the end of this arc that filled this tome here. And I love Madman for other reasons, because this guy here has lots of bits and pieces of other characters. A bit of Silver Surfer, lots of the Silver Surfer. He's self-aware, always talking to himself, a man that asks his position in the greater scheme of things, and is surprised actually that he is in love with this character Joe over there, and all the love scenes with this Joe, his girlfriend, are pretty heartwarming, and all his love for his Joe is pretty much his superpower actually. And he fights with the JoJo, and when I spoke that he has a bit of a Silver Surfer, he has lots of Starman, this appreciation to be some kind of hero, to fight the good fight, even if you are sometimes a bit afraid of the situations that you are in. And yeah, it's a bit of the goon, and Madman is just a fantastic character, and even these whimsical situations, you just glide into this silliness slowly, and when when you read it, you ask yourself, what have I just read there? Because it's a very heartful and lovable character, and a very relatable character. And very close to my heart. And so I'm very glad that they start to collect all these Madman stories and a bit more, since this is the Madman-niverse library.
Cool.
And we have the IT Girl series, the Atomics, and there's a lot of other stuff with Madman a bit in it. And here's even a 3-issue series in the story that in this book that has not Madman in it at all. So.
Well, who published it? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
Who published it?
Dark Horse. It's one of these Dark Horse libraries. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And but I really had to go on eBay and to sell other stuff. So if anybody out there wants some Berserk manga volumes 2, 3, and 4, go on eBay, and there are already some manga Berserk heads fighting for my books, and I want your money. I need your money, so else I'm bankrupt. These last weeks were crazy. So, but it looks good. 2 of them are already for double cover price or so. I'm a bit awkward to sell stuff above a cover price, but I started with cover price, and it's up to them. If they outbid each other, I'm out of the game. So do what you like, make me rich, and
right. Buy more comics.
I should do the same like you do, because I was selling on eBay, but I don't really tell people. I'm kind of afraid people judging me how I attack my comic books.
Yeah.
But
get a video
honestly,
made about you.
And then also I always try to be like, I think I overdo it and I overpay for what I say actually gonna pay for postage most of the time. And I remember once the guy gave me a review. How dare you charging me so much money for the postage? I was like, what? I mean, look, I spent extra. For God's sake, dude, you have safe comic books. It's all intact. That's the whole idea, which I hate. I absolutely despise when I buy online comic books and they come trashed. So I always go, like, of course, I'm not trying to overpackage, especially kind of now, because I'm redoing my storage. So I haven't shown this side of the wall of the room because it's a absolute bonkers mess, because I have been doing putting 2 comic books in one bag with one backing board. The reason being because I'm using filing cabinets, and cabinets, they do not take that much weight as cardboard can, and you cannot believe how much cardboard weighs and how much difference does it make when you do that. Anyway, in my tangents, I'm trying to sell some things as well. I'm actually thinking what to sell, but maybe you should do like Earl Grey, being so like, oh yeah, dudes, come and visit my eBay. I'm selling shit. Do you want it? I don't have that much guts, to be honest. Anyway,
did you ever read his Silver Surfer run that he did?
Me?
Yeah.
It was wonderful, and it is
so wonderful. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is very close to Madman. So if you never have read Madman, but I assume you did, haven't you?
Yeah, just bits and pieces. I've never read the whole thing, but I've read a good chunk of it.
Yeah. Same with me, actually. I had some traits here and there, but never a whole story arc. And this is now solved, I guess, the problem. But if you like the Silver Surfer run by Dan Slott, about it. And Michael Allred, if you love that, you will surely like almost everything. Maybe not the puke and pimple stuff, but But at the core, it's just his relationship, and with these mad scientists, it's a father-son relationship pretty much, and yeah, it's really nice.
Damien, I hope
Yeah, very nice.
your daughter will be well very soon, and I'm sorry to hear that she got sick. Hopefully nothing too bad, and we keep you company. Just listen to our blabbing. I'm gonna make you smile a little bit at least, hopefully. With all this nonsense we tend to talk about. Yeah. So okay, Comic Crack. Do you want to hit us up with something amazing?
Sure. I haven't read a ton this week. This week has been unbelievably busy at work, so my stack is a little smaller. But
okay.
We'll start off with continuing from last week's adventure. Sorry, I've got so many things going on here. Based on our conversation last week, I went the next day to the bookstore and I picked up The Shadow of a Man from Scoyden and Peters, part of the Obscure Cities, and reading it, talking about it last week. Again, always those realizations of how much I enjoy the world that they build and things. This was a fun book. It wasn't my favorite of the stuff that I've read so far. There was a couple of things that I felt worked really well and some that maybe didn't. But I mean, at the end of the day, the things that worked for me were when you kind of feel that city. There was a great shot, stuff like this.
Yeah.
Is fantastic. Exactly. And then when the main character is sitting kind of just contemplating his life here, there was a couple of good shots. I probably won't be able to find them, but sitting on rooftops, just looking at the cityscape itself. After Earl Grey sent me the maps, it was great to kind of have those open as well too, to locate where the story was taking place in those maps. So it's basically a story of a pretty unhappy man at first, and he goes to get medication to kind of help him. And it starts making him almost transparent, where you're able to see his shadow is him. Let's see if we can get a good shot of that. You can see him like this here. So his shadow behind him, instead of being a black silhouette, is just a reflection of him. And his whole life kind of starts disintegrating. His wife leaves him. He moves away and kind of begins a different life, and is kind of looked at as this madman who lives in the neighborhood that the neighbors want to basically get rid of. And he starts a relationship with this woman that lives across the way, and they kind of create this act together of acrobatics and kind of a play of sorts. Here we go. So he kind of follows her for a bit and sees that she works in a burlesque house, and they decide to create their own piece. Here we go. Here's that shot. I love that panel a lot. Him just kind of sitting. He starts to only go out at certain times a day because he doesn't want to draw attention to himself, and kind of changes his appearance completely, shaves off his beard. And it was, like I said, really, really enjoyable. Not the one that I would maybe suggest if you didn't know the world, but a really nice addition to the series that they have going. And what surprised me about this is at the end, they talk about shadows and repentance, and they talk about changing the story itself from 1998, and then in 2008 doing some changes, and they have some examples of things that they've changed. And it's interesting reading that, because you usually read about those things and the changes are kind of hoisted upon the especially the translations, where people kind of change some things. But it seems to me, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that something changed by the creators seems a little more rare. They kind of have their story and it just exists as the story, but it's an interesting idea to have this story as a living, breathing thing that they keep revisiting and changing a little bit to kind of tighten it up or add another dimension to it. So that was a little surprising to me. I didn't realize that was the case, and I'm curious if they've done that with much of their other work. I don't remember from the other volume that I have having that in the back, that they've spoken about that, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, it was good, and I can't wait. And IDW, I can't wait for more from this. I really enjoy this format, even though it's the soft cover. They have these fold-out front and back covers, which are really nice.
The back cover looks very nice.
Yeah, and they do a really nice job.
Oh yeah.
Even with the binding itself, there's a nice crease in there, so you don't feel like you're cracking it open and splitting it.
Nice.
It feels like there's a lot of room for the book to sit flat. This shot here is Virginian. So it feels like they do a really nice job on these soft cover editions. So I can't wait for more.
IDW is also a very good publisher when it comes to the books, I think.
That's the same design with many of these books in German. They have this similar flaps going on, and they revisit their own creations, and actually that's a bit what this travel guide is for, because it's a bit I don't feel that they have this great big plan. Oh, we do this and that, but just they imagine stuff and think about it afterwards. How this actually fits into our big world there, and then we do this travel guide or this collection of newspaper articles that was collected. And I got the new version. I show it another time, but. They changed a lot with a new edition, and they I was surprised how much bad jokes they had in this older edition. It was intended to be to mimic a collection of newspaper or magazine articles from around, let's say, 1900 in our measuring of time. But even that, some of the jokes are pretty questionable, especially in terms of how the women are treated and so on, or these articles. And they changed that. So it's much up to more modern moral beliefs in a bit, in a way. So, but I was really surprised how old-fashioned this older book was or is.
So
yeah, interesting.
So is there so is that says just a storyline, or is that volumed? Like this is first volume, second volume, or third volume, or what is it? Like the way they publish it, I'm curious, because you said this one you read, Terence, that it wasn't very friendly towards the new readers. I guess that's what you said.
No, sorry. I just mean that if somebody didn't know their work, I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend this for the first book to get into. Again, it's one of those things with the English editions. They seem to be publishing them all over the place. I don't know what their timeline is. And even looking in the other volume that I have of another book, the timeline that they have laid out there for what they're going to release is already like 2 years at least behind, and it's changed completely. So there doesn't appear to me to be unnecessarily... This is volume 1, this is volume 2, because they all do kind of stand alone. They just take place in the same kind of world. There's a little bit of crossovers, obviously, especially with the locations and the world that it's built in. But as far as continuing storylines, and I mean, Earl Grey will be able to tell me more because I haven't read everything. So far from my reading, I haven't noticed where you need to read this before you read this kind of thing. You can read them standalone and not be lost.
Okay, good.
I think just the thing with Shadow of a Man is that they did there something that is not their prime ability to write a romance story, love story. I mean, it's always more interesting when they just stay with their architecture themes, when the city is actually the star, and all the architects and all this, when the scenery is really important. Yeah.
Because there's, I think last time when you talked to, I think last video, isn't it? When you talked about it as well, I saw the Tower is not even yet came out, and you said that not to read that first, isn't it, Earl Grey, or did I misunderstood you?
You don't have to read it, but you can.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just like sometimes to the series, you kind of want to understand where you start, or if they don't show to you, or you just
Yeah, actually, I
Jump.
guess it was one of the first books that I've read from them
Oh, I see. Okay.
back in the day.
Okay.
So, but it just stood in my mind as a singularity, as, oh, that's something. And afterwards, I read totally different stuff, more sci-fi stories, with no relation on the surface level to the tower. But later on, I recognized someone saying, "Oh, these belong to the same cycle of stories,"
Okay.
and I'm not very sure that they intended to be it right from the start, to be a cycle of stories. But
I see.
that's it's a good right of the artist to create stuff, and later on come up with an umbrella theme for all this stuff.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. I definitely want to get into it, so that's why I really enjoyed the art you both shared, and then I was like, okay, I'm very curious to see, and maybe I can dive into just buy one book and see what I actually feel like, rather than me just overthinking it. But sometimes your brain just like, oh, I want to know when to go and what to start, kind of like that,
right.
kind of.
I've already added The Tower to my wish list on Book Depository, because I haven't read that one, so I'm looking for it. I think it said it comes out later this year. Around kind of Christmas time ish, really late in the year.
Yeah,
so
I've seen this.
I'm already ready for it.
Yeah, so put in your Christmas wish list, I guess.
100%.
That's for Santa, for you to make sure you need to make sure you buy that for me.
Right. Well, last year that's all I did is I sent the link to the wish list when people are asking me, "Hey, what do you want?" I just sent them the link. Anything from there, go for it. Yeah, it just makes it easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. And Gore is also managed to convert somebody, so.
Yeah,
that's great.
And now they are friends.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, yeah. So I guess it's my turn. Oh my God, do the work, Rasa. Do the work. Don't forget. Okay. So because the Earl Grey was mentioning this madman. Okay, I had the inkling on because you see, when I'm organizing my books, I started to realize what I have, and I knew I had this because of the obscurity, I guess, and I also I think Aldred's art were somewhere drawn, and I was curious to see. And then that time when I was buying comic books, I actually have the whole run, but after reading about maybe halfway through, I decided that I have a Marvel Unlimited app. And I found out that the first appearance of that team, talk to me here. It came out on X-Force 116. So that's their first appearance for you people who like keys. So it's all appearance of the new Ecstatics, and the humor part of how they, from being an X-Force team to becoming the Ecstatics, that was kind of hilarious humor part. But I honestly wanted something completely like it's still Marvel, as you can see, but I wanted something like I saw it and it was just because it's all red, it stands out, it really stands out for you. And I was like, okay, maybe I should start reading it. So, and this story starts this love story as well. And what I wanted to also, why I picked it up, this is because it's Peter Milligan who wrote it. And of course, I will, after reading a lot of this Vertigo run, I would be curious to see how he handles the Marvel titles, because, it's a different kind of like cup of tea, honestly. So anyway, so this kid's running on the beach and they're having their first date. And then, as you can see in here with that panel at the bottom, he pukes, and that puke is toxic and it burns the girl's face.
Maybe that's the first appearance of Terrence.
Maybe.
The puke man.
Yeah, but no, Mad Men came out way before, I think, as far as I know. But I'm not really sure though. Anyway, so and this story goes from how they, they're trying to collect the team, because basically the idea of X-Force is those mutants who have abilities, and then also they are there for killing, like a mercenary team. So of course they will die quite quickly. And in this first issue and the first appearances of the team, actually it's not original ecstatics. It's just what the beginning of them is trying to scramble, and they kind of have the same idea of like almost like a Nick Fury guy, you know, the guy in charge, or like Xavier, you know, and this guy is basically tell them, oh yeah, you have to go there. And he's like, so tell me what we're gonna do there. Just go there and do your job. And then they end up dying. This huge amount of them died, and it was like kind of hilarious. And how it's this idea of them having to be surviving and just in being in existence. So yeah, it's definitely this. I'm reading this. This is the guy I was talking about. This guy in gray. So he's kind of like a in charge guy, and they're having the media runs and stuff. Very intriguing so far. It has quite a lot of humor, and it has quirkiness of Peter Milligan, which I enjoy. So I was kind of surprised, and I guess that's why they gave him this kind of run, because I think X-Force is quite loved by many readers, especially for Marvel fans. But then this X-Tax is kind of like a little bit of a joke, to be honest, because the whole team is looks a little bit of kind of like you have a Dupe, which is kind of intriguing character. He looks like a potato, but he's like an alien guy. And then you can't understand when he speaks. You know, I'm looking for that panel to show him. So he's kind of like at the beginning of his existence in X-Force, Dupe is used like a cameraman. So they also basically gets the media attention. That's the Dupe. They're floating the camera. So he gets the attention to from making sure that they are doing all the stuff and that's what usually happens to them. A lot of blood and a lot of gore kind of thing. But the way Allred's art is, it's kind of like, you know, it's less gross, I guess, to be honest. It doesn't feel like so bad to me at the beginning, but that's first mission. That's the first issue, the first appearance kind of thing of them. And yeah, that's what happened to them. Most of them died. So it's only a couple of them survived from that original, like the beginning team. And then you have your X-Tactics, which I haven't read it all because I'm still continuing reading that X-Force. And I really like it. I mean, as I say, it's something new. I am fan of XMen. This is a bit more jokey than I'm usually used to kind of thing, but I'm not this it goes really nicely, flows really well, and Peter Milligan's writing is continuously being entertaining. And yeah. I'm as I say, I'm glad because I wanted something Peter Milligan and stuff like that to read.
Yeah, I've read all the whole story arc from the Ecstatics.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, one of the two storylines from the X-Men that I've read. The other from Grant Morrison. Okay. But yeah, that was really great. I mean, Michael Allred is just the peak of pop art for me in comics. It's just so iconic.
Yeah. And it's funny when you do the digital and then you do the actual comic and Allred's art, it's still fascinatingly well. It looks really good on the page. And I know this is because maybe it's a new print or the way our Allreds are doing the art, because I think they're doing digitally anyway. So, and they both, of course, it helps when you have your wife doing the colors for you. So, you know, you can just tell her what you kind of like want, exactly what you want to see from them. So in this one, you have it's supposedly like giant size X-Men. So it's giant size X-Tactics, all coming out. And in here as well, once again, you're choosing the team. So, and even says in here, it's a sense-shattering first issue. So it's always like kind of a jokey things. But yeah, it's funny how with that, as I say, you were showing Mad Men and I'm showing you the actual Allred's art from this. So we're kind of getting into the same wavelengths. So yeah, that's the Duke character here, which is apparently fans' favorite. So, but you can't understand what he says. You have a speech bubble and it's this alien language, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, like kind of like, and they reply to you. So it's almost the same like, oh, like the Groot, like the Groot kind of thing. But you say like I'm the Groot, and you're like, there's some really fascinating storyline he's starting to tell everybody. But yeah, as I say,
didn't Laura Allred win an Eisner already or something? Not that I follow that stuff, but I thought she won some award just very, very recently for colorist on something. Maybe I'm talking out my ass, but I thought I saw something on the Twitter.
I don't know. I know that the Pulp one, the Eisner Awards.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, Sean Phillips is like, oh, thank you, dudes. Like, he always trying to be overly cool when it comes to that kind of stuff. He presents himself like that, don't you think? The Phillips guy. So he's like, oh, I am, like it's me. Thank you. You, my Dominion douchebags. You buying my shit. I'm producing. I'm getting the money, kind of thing. It's just the way I feel like about when I see his interviews as well. It looks like he's always on like, I'm gonna punch you back, like I'm on defense. Yeah, this right, left, kind of thing.
Actually, I don't know. He's one. I can't remember an interview or having seen him in person. But what I really like about him in one of the books, has to be one of the more recent ones. He explained how he does his art with all the photographies and all these templates and. How he traces stuff and doesn't trace stuff. He is very open about it. I mean, he's, in my mind, the only example of these artists who did this in this way, in this very open, honest way. Look here, that's the way I'm producing this stuff. The other artists are these, I am these artists, I just shake it out of my hand and you see it on the paper and you know this is not the case. You just can't do it by looking at some stuff. You had to use photographs and Photoshop and so on. So, and his son Jacob is a very decent human being. I've listened to him in some podcast or so. So, a hint that his father has to be some nice person.
What about Mother? You never know about Mother. Mother takes really good.
You talked about his father. Maybe
shame on me then.
There are two.
Yeah, there's always two. But I'm not trying to diss him. It's just the way I feel sometimes. I see him in interviews. Like I've seen one of the interviews. It just felt like that. I mean, he's open. He always speaks. He's open about everything, whatever he does, which is perfect. I like that in artists. Don't get me wrong, but just the way it feels sometimes, especially when you like Twitter writing. Maybe it's just me. It's just the way I kind of recognize it, but. Honestly, the guy's doing the stuff and I'm buying it, so I guess I like it. So yeah.
Rega is sharing an unknown Nostradamus prediction there in the chat, one that's not common knowledge.
No. Not when it comes to me.
Yeah, but even Govardal thinks, maybe I should get the tablet. See, look, guys, I'm not affiliated with Apple, okay? If you start buying Apple tablets, you better give me something back, okay? But I'm not affiliated. This channel is not affiliated with anybody else. It's just me enjoying my comics.
If anybody wants to sponsor us, just hit us up. Just send us that money. Send us free stuff.
We're definitely going to show you all the library editions there is, because believe me, that's the first thing I would do. Like, bye. Anyway, okay, it's enough of this. Anyway, concentrate. Okay, Earl Grey.
Okay, it's my turn. Let's talk about. Shame that Damien isn't here, but he's in the chat, because this is a book that he recommended on his channel, and I like both of them. The writer Karl Starks and the artist Chris Schweitzer. I mean, the cover is not the most of not very appealing, actually. But this is a fantastic story about a douchebag of an actor. Here we have him, called Trigger Keaton, and the whole story is called The Six Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton. And he burned through the sidekicks, his sidekicks and his stuntman, because he always punches them for real and treats them like dirt, and was the biggest asshole that you could imagine. But one day he is dead.
Wow.
There we have it.
Oh, he killed himself?
Pretty on point panel. And now we have a crime mystery that has to be solved. And the people that are maybe in the first place to be maybe his murderer are these sidekicks that he treated badly. And yeah, as you can see, it's a very cartoonish art style, and but each of these characters is described in a very precise manner, and they have, after just a few panels, they have a life on their of their own, and you see how they try to figure out this crime mystery together. And it seems, even though they have not very much in common, these sidekicks in the beginning, and always one of them, Tarantino would be a good choice if they do a movie out of it. And I just read issue 2 today, amongst all the other stuff that I read, and I had really a blast reading the stuff here. Crank it. And actually, maybe Damien could put in the comments what he thinks of it. I would say, the highest point of the stuff here is that, or the high point of the story here is that they read the will of this Trigger Keaton, and he just gave them a notice, go fuck you, or another order of him was to ship boxes with his own feces, poop, to all the people he didn't like. It is more fun when you read it in the story, and I hope I didn't spoil it, but it's really, it's just hilarious. My reasoning would be that it is no murder. There was no murder. That he just faked his own death and committed suicide, and just orchestrated all the stuff, including the shit in the boxes, just because he was a totally evil being. It's Image. It's from Image over there. And I guess it's 5 or 6 issue miniseries. It was totally comedic. There's a car chase scene in it, where the greatest coward of all these sidekicks suddenly shows crazy driving abilities to drive backwards and
wow, it's almost like Fast and Furious.
But a cartoony version of Fast and Furious. So
Because all those fancy driving skills.
And it looks great. That art style is fantastic.
I had Mars Attacks drawn by the same guy, Schweitzer.
Okay.
And this is just the story was so, especially the ending, but it was fine. The art was really the selling point in the Mars Attacks series.
Interesting, very good. I looked. I think I saw it in Sleepy's video as well. He was talking about it, and I see some other people. It's like a mouthful for the title, but it seems to be. Issue 2 has changed quite a few people's minds, which is good. I'm glad about it, especially like when it's maybe like topics and cartoonist artists, like too cartoony of art. It's like puts people off. I don't know why, but it tends to do that quite a bit. So.
Yeah, sometimes it's with me the same thing, but some cartoony art is good for me, and some cartoony art not so much.
Yeah, there's definitely a sweet spot in there for sure, that it has to kind of ride that line, right? Yeah.
And Paul Costa, hello, always likes the artists try to do correctly, which is especially if you are trying to vehicles, the era of the time, and we have quite a few grabs sometimes when we read the stories, especially if they try to portray the era at the time, like something like that sometimes.
Yeah, the thing with the car in the comic is that this was actually used in one of these movies from Trigger Keaton, and he gifted it to the sidekick, just with the mentioning that he will never be as worth as the shit in the motor, the oil on a motor basis. So here have it. Then you are much more worthy because now you have the car. That is, yeah. I hope you understand. It was just a mean gift.
Yeah. It looked fantastic though, yeah. The way you showed those panels, I actually quite enjoyed it. Definitely probably gonna think about trade because too many comic books to pick up. I just can't handle them.
Anything that takes a pot shot at film industry and actors, I'm on board. So I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good thing, Let's see. Is it gonna be a mini or is it ongoing? What do they said anything about it?
I'm not sure, but I have the strong feeling that it's over after 5 or 6 issues.
I see. So, okay, how far can you take the story like that? Like with demonstrate.
Yeah, it wouldn't make no sense. It
wouldn't
make any sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Crackity Crack.
So the thing that I read this week that probably blew my mind the most, and I can't believe that I haven't read it up until this point, was this Elektra Lives Again. That way for mature readers. Holy smokes, did I love this book. I don't know why I wouldn't have jumped on this earlier. It's just a failure on my part. I loved this book. Frank Miller's art and Lynn Varley on colors, and it's a fantastic story of Elektra coming back, ? Was she really there? Was she in Mr. Murdoch's mind? Was she a spirit? Was it just her essence? Really, really good. And the story itself I really enjoyed as well, but the art in here and just his layouts and his character designs are just so top notch. And of course, it's hard to get away from everybody's kind of the staple of Frank Miller, the Sin City. And I can absolutely see that influence in here, especially with things like this. Those panels are just gorgeous. But there's other stuff that goes on here. His use of space, one of this page here specifically, waking up from a nightmare and heading downstairs, and you just get the full shot of him and that perspective of the spiral staircase. And that's kind of repeated a couple of times here, not with staircases, but there's some layouts where you get that real sense of depth and that kind of spiral. And one of the other sections that really blew my mind as well was here when he goes to visit Elektra's grave, and all of a sudden is surrounded by ninjas, and we get a couple of pages of these just extraordinary layouts. And it's just something about his line work, even on the speech balloons itself, or the squares rather, that kind of jagged line. But this goes on for a few pages like this, and we just get 2 panels per page. And finally, Elektra kind of bursts out of the snow as well to fight alongside him. And this goes on and on. The movement in the panels, the action, how it's used. It doesn't feel. It feels legit as well too. Like the movements, it doesn't feel like this is some attempt at some martial arts. This feels like it's heavily referenced. Again, going back to reference. I don't know what his mindset is when it comes to using photo reference. I'm not that up to speed on Frank Miller himself, but I really loved it. And the color palette that's used throughout this, a lot of these cool colors and things. I'm a huge fan of anything that takes place in the snow, so that helps. And even stuff like this, we get a story that's continuing throughout the panels that leads up to what we're seeing here. Even though it doesn't happen on this page, we get a touch of what's to come on the following page. Just really clever uses of how you're telling a story from one page to the other, and his kind of his what I would consider another Frank Miller staple, these TV screen moments here where we're reliving some of the story. Man, this was fantastic. This is one that I don't know if it's in an oversized. This is a really nice layout here too in this panel.
Yeah, it looks like they missed a bit of chunk of the book, you know. That's
Sorry, say that again.
It looks like there's chunk missing, like in the top and the bottom. Like, you know, there's so much space left, but they didn't blow up the panels.
Right. Yes, that's correct. Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't fill the page. I don't know if there's an oversized collection of this. I think that it is collected in a whole bunch of stuff. Like maybe there's an Elektra book. I feel like, again, the infamous kayfabe crew have talked about this, but it was collected in a hardcover volume with a bunch of Elektra stories. But man, oh man, would I recommend this. And again, who knows why I slept on it, but I'm so glad that I rectified it. Like, look at these pages.
Yeah, beautiful.
Ridiculous. All this white space. Really, it was such an easy thing to read. It was another kind of one sitting because I just found myself absorbed in it right away. And it's really Matt Murdock / Daredevil talking through the whole thing, even though Elektra is there. And I like the way, at least in the way I read it, that it, for me, it didn't seem like there was... it wasn't spelled out that, yes, she really was there. It's sort of left up to you to decide whether, you know, was Elektra, was she really still alive, or was this kind of part of his vision because he's having trouble sleeping. He's haunted by the nightmares of her dying. So you get that sense as well, too. There you go. It's a nice page as well, too. But, man, when you find a team, oh, hey, look at you, Scott Connor. Excellent. That's good to know. I'm absolutely going to hunt it down. There you go. And again, speaking of architecture and things, it's in really nice display here with pages like this as well. So beautiful. I can't say enough about it. So then I maybe shouldn't. And there's another page there, and just soaking in every single page. But there's something, yes, there's absolutely references to Frank Miller and his other work, but this also, to me, kind of, it seems like it stands apart because there's a different kind of quality to his line in this one. Yeah, a little more raw. Really, really nice. So really glad that I picked that up. And then that Barbaric, they did a homage cover to this one too. There was a variant that used this kind of design as well too.
Oh, is it?
Just the main Barbaric character there. When I was looking online and stuff. So yeah, well worth picking up if you haven't.
I haven't read it.
Alive, she's back. It's worth hunting down if you can find a copy.
Yeah. Did you know that
format you can find?
Yeah. Did you know that Peter Milligan has written Elektra as well in 1996? Mike Deodato.
I never knew it was Milligan.
Yeah. So I was surprised just because I was looking on every time you talk about something, so I can check on Unlimited to see if they had. But I don't know. I can't see her. But this is like, Milligan. I like Milligan stuff, what he's writing. So I'm probably gonna have a look. And Mike Deodato, as you can see, it wasn't a slouch already in 1996. Look at that.
Oh,
beautiful looking, for sure. A lot to read though, Peter Milligan style. But yeah, I like her. Look at this. Those hairs are crazy. Anyway, okay. There's another affiliation. Anyway, so sorry, I'm being a douche. Anyway, talking about ladies, now I'll tell you about my gripe, which I really enjoy reading. But then it has to be Terrence. You have to be sending me this because I don't think I would have picked. Okay, this.
Oh.
I only sent you one of the two, really?
Yes. Is it you?
I apologize. That's
did you do it? Yeah.
I definitely sent you that because I had doubles because I love those. There's two issue miniseries of Tongue Lash, and I loved both of them. I thought they were both fantastic.
So, because I'm as I say, I'm rediscovering what I had as well. You know, like you put away your collection, blah blah blah. You forget now because I'm reshuffling everything, and then you open the page, and you're like, "Excuse me." It's like, I think I know who that is, but of course, if you think who it is, it's not. It's they having a nice letter saying inspired by Jean Mobius Giraud.
Oh.
So a bit disappointing in that sense, but it's still very much of his kind of thing. So I start reading it, and it's those bizarre type of tale. It starts with this ladies in bondage and stuff like that. Beautiful colors, by the way. So I kept it continue. Like even the guy who is like a detective type of this guy, he is as well wearing this like weird, really kooky mask. Anyway, so the story goes, and there is this dude, and then she goes, this lady here, and she comes in to ask for service for, basically found out that her daddy, who is kind of like a big guy in this world, I presume, had fallen in love with a prostitute, and he's basically decides to marry her, and her daughter, who is this lady here, decided like, oh, I need to check. I mean, I'm happy. My dad is like happy, but I wanted to make sure that she is not using him for whatever, like for money, for wealth, for the power or status of that. And then you have panels like that where you go into this lady. She goes in, and there's this ladies hanging everywhere, men hanging, boobies hanging. Like it goes to the theme. I was like, okay, what is this? What Terrence sending me? What is trying to push me this way, another way, or maybe open my eyes a little bit, like female having each other like. And the way they having conversations is kind of a bit bizarre, because if you can see the lettering, the E doesn't have the end. It's like on purpose, like it's just the style of the lettering. So it took me a while, a little bit. And there's another panel for you guys to enjoy. Oh, there you go. There you go. This is like a nice, those tongues are going up and up and up. Anyway, so yeah, so this was like a bit bizarre. Oh, that's how the daddy looks. That's the lady's daddy. And this is the girl who he's in love with. And he's giving her this mysterious ring, which I also was like bizarre. And also they have another thing, which is creatures with animal heads. Or they are real, or is just the masks? I don't know. Maybe Terrence can tell me. Is that real, or they masks?
No, I'm pretty sure they were real, like hybrids. It's been so long since I've read this, but I'm pretty sure that they were real.
By the way, this is Dark Horse, and it came out originally in 1996. So... and
it's written by the Lafossiere brothers, who did a lot of the translations of the Mobius work as well, too. Randy and Jean-Marc. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And Dave Taylor. That's right.
Yeah. There you go. So, anyway, so as I say, I thoroughly enjoyed the tale is going. It's like a mystery part, and this girl, she's who is in love with that man. She's been working for somebody, and then now she decides that now I actually really in love with them. I'm going to decide to marry. And then, of course, because she's prostitute, things happen. And I'm not sure what happened here. Is this like some sort of form of winky explosion? Oh, you can take your interpretations, but basically, unfortunately, she passed away. There's this, and then, so... They're still looking, and they try to escape. And in order to escape, they have to go through this almost like a portal type of the thing via another dimension in order to escape. And they use this machine. They do that, escape, and everything goes really well. As I say, it's very entertaining. And they have this alien, like some sort of like things coming out from the bodies in order to bleed them, because it's part of the tribe she's part of. It's kind of a lot of bizarre stuff. What intrigued me the most of this storyline is that the end, the mystery part, and the detective side of the things, which is really what tingles my mind all the time, is because of the death and because what happens. Spoiler alert, 1996. Murder happens without having them to find out what happened. That's the brother of the girl, the prostitute who died as well, and somebody murdered him as well, the brother. So, and then he says, to be continued. I was like, where is my other copy? I was like, what the hell? Where is it? I want to know what's happening. And I can't find it. I don't know if you have sent it to me. But I was going even online, start to research what is going on here. What is this Tanglash? Where I'm going to get it? And I, of course, can't find it. On internet, it's like, there's one issue. Somebody sells it like for £10. It's like,
oh, wow. Brutal. I'll keep my eyes open. I'll keep a lookout.
Yeah, anyway. So, no, what I'm saying is just I've never expected to have the Mobius style art as well, kind of inside it. Also, I didn't expect, because of the the content, I didn't feel like it was enough for me to grab onto. But because I kind of like, when did I describe this? It's kind of vaguely described, but it's intriguing. It just keeps you going. It just keeps you entertained. And I was like, I want to know what's happened to them, and like, really, why? Because that ring has intriguing powers as well, apparently. So, yep. Yeah, and honestly, yeah, that didn't work really well for me either. When you Google that kind of stuff. So, oops! Don't press the image button, by the way, when you Google it. So don't do it. Just save yourself. You just don't. Anyway, so yeah, very intriguing. This is the back cover, which is actually fantastic looking, and I like this. It's very simplistically drawn, but very well, of course. The females are nice. The part where it's like different dimension is really intriguing. It's just like, like, it does really reminds me of course, no wonder they had the inspiration from Mobius, because it definitely took it from there. So,
but
yeah.
Milo Manara as well, I feel.
Yeah,
it's a bit crossover between Milo Manara, Krepax,
Creepax. Yeah,
Krepax,
yeah,
and Möbius.
Yeah.
Somehow, just by the looks of it.
So anybody has a second issue, yeah, I can send you my post because I definitely want to fucking read this. Anyway, it's just intriguing, like it bothers me because it's like, of course, it's a name of the title. Also, it's 1996, not very popular time on the comic books. It's kind of rare they are if you don't get them. So, and I unfortunately, if you know where I live, there's no comic book shops. I can just go waltz in. It's like, do you have this? I want this now. But no, unfortunately, I can't demand this kind of things.
It seems like that era of Dark Horse, as well as like, that early Vertigo stuff, as much as you think that what they were putting out, there's always surprises from that era of Dark Horse with strange little mini series or just one shots and that sort of thing that still pop up to this day. It's incredible to kind of rediscover that stuff.
Yeah, it's because I was like, surely, like, I don't know where, like, when I remember who can get it to me, but then the theme of the comic when I start reading is like, oh yeah, it has to be Terrence who sends me this kind of stuff. But you know what? Honestly, I'm intrigued. I would recommend people, if you can find it, read it. It's intriguing. I'm very vaguely explaining what exactly was in there, but it's just that little intrigue. Suddenly you just want to know exactly the ending to it. And there's another part for, I think, 2 issues as well.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So see, I did my research. Anyway, okay. Back to Sanity from Earl Grey.
Okay, I'm the expert for Sanity. Yeah. Golden Age. I still explore my Golden Age Batman omnibus, the Golden Age Volume 9, and I just flipped randomly through another page in which we have. This is Batman number 82 with the flying Batman. And this is totally bonkers, and it's so much fun. I forgot. Sheldon Moldoff is the first artist. We have in this one issue 2 stories by Dick Sprang, but the first one here is drawn by Sheldon Moldoff. It's the flying Batman, and when you look pretty close at this Batman guy, he has real bat wings over there. And this happens.
That's incredible.
That's incredible, because he met these guys from a distant secret valley who have real wings grafted on them.
Amazing.
And they live far away on a different continent. Here we have them. And they're clearly actually good guys. But one of them turned evil, a bad, villainous crook. Here we have him over there. So, and they used their wings now to rob banks and do crimes. So no wonder they have to have Batman, because no one else could help these poor winged people. And yeah, now they put real bat wings on our Batman, so that he is able to cope with these new villains with these wings. And yeah, just the setup is so totally bonkers. And when they fool around with these, and they are later on they cage Batman and Robin like some birds, but a bat in a cage. Makes me think of some Smashing Pumpkin lyrics. Anyhow, second story is Dick Sprang, the man who could change fingerprints. And that's really what this guy did. He could change his fingerprints. Actually, but the third story here is maybe the most timely, because we have Olympics right now, but these are the Olympic Games of crime. Welcome to the Underworld Olympics. So some underworld king here has the very fantastic idea to do some Olympics to lure Batman onto the scene so that they can fight him better. Here he has actually a good assessment of the whole situation. An Olympic Games of crime, it sounds incredible. They wouldn't dare risk it. And it's actually a pretty bonkers idea. But now Batman enters the scene disguised as this guy here. This is actually Bruce. And I don't know. And obviously he saves the day, and they shoot a guy, but a Batman, but it isn't Batman, but just a prop of him. They used this Batman prop as some target for shooting practices or the shooting competition in these Olympic Games. And we come to this the final assessment here. The law wins, crime loses, of course, because Batman can free himself and escape. So yeah, every time I pick up one of these Golden Age stones, it's just fun and enjoyment for me.
Had lots of puns in here today, so we all the Olympics. And then we have, of course, as Clam says, so many politicians these days competing in the Olympic of crimes. Yeah, very true. Very true. Don't watch news. Just come watch us. We just, we can give you all the news you need, all the comic books. That's the most important in life, anyway. Anyway, Mr. Comic Craig, do you have something else? He does. Watch out.
So yesterday there was a garage sale in town by one of these guys that usually sets up at the mini conventions that we have. He has it today as well too. So I popped in because he had some incredible deals on stuff, and I picked up Brave and the Bold with the Spectre and the Flash. Apparently, it's the fourth appearance of the Spectre. Ooh la la! Beat to all get out of town, but this was such a fun little read, and one of the things that I really enjoyed. Hopefully, it doesn't literally fall apart as I open it up here. I'm loving the art. So there's this kind of aviator character whose name I'm blanking on right now, and the way that he is kind of drawn in almost this broken line, and this very gestural kind of drawing of the Flash here. He basically he steals the kind of soul and the essence of the Flash, and he's now this spirit that he's going to control. When we first get introduced to our main villain there, this is how we're introduced to him, and I absolutely love that. Beautiful kind of misty representation of a spirit. Just really fun. Is it the most mind-blowing Spectre? It's not the Spectre that I know. It's definitely more of a you know, kind of sticks to more of like the mainstream type of superheroes, where even the relationship with him and Jim Corrigan, where we see them separate. They have a conversation about the case. So we get this group of old pilots from the First World War that are gathering, and they always have a seat for their fallen comrade, who's our main spirit here. And he kind of takes them all captive. So when James Corrigan is called onto the scene, him and Spectre have a conversation, and basically this seems like a job for you. So he takes off. But even the relationship between the two of them is very different than what I'm used to in some of the other Spectre stories. And it just kind of goes from there. They have some dogfight action. So basically his group, his regiment, I guess, they left him on his own in kind of this battle with this Baron, whose name, of course, I don't remember. And he's shot down. And so now he's going to exact his revenge and get all of their spirits and steal all of their souls. And he's going to do it one at a time. They have a chance to fight for their survival in a dogfight. So Spectre comes and intervenes, literally makes himself gigantic and blocks some of the bullets. But again, like the way he's drawn is, I love it so much. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. And the way the colors are used there for his face, I think is a really nice effect. So eventually it's down to the Spectre and the Flash having their own dogfight for the souls of these these veteran pilots. And of course, because it's a Spectre story, the airplane battle can't stay on Earth. It has to go into outer space in part 3 of our story here. And at one point, Spectre himself hides in an asteroid belt of a planet, as we get pictures of the Flash running across these planets, hopping from planet to planet. Finally finds the Spectre here in this asteroid field, where they have kind of their final battle. So it was a really, really fun read. Really had a feel of kind of those Silver Age, Golden Age kind of heroes, where it wasn't super intense, just kind of a really fun little story, a very quick ending. But I'm really glad I gave this one a shot. Another one for another comic in the Spectre collection is always welcome. Carmine Infantino, I want to say, let's see if we get some credits. Yeah, Infantino is credited on the front there in his signature. Do we actually have a credits page? Probably not, hey? Not that I'm seeing anyway. But yeah, really fun. And there's one more shot of our kind of main villain there. So yeah, very, very nice. Love it. And I agree with, I think it was Zesty Clam saying in the comments, this is a really fantastic cover. And the price was right, because it's so beaten up. It cost me next to nothing. So really nice pickup there.
Well, that's good that you find a nice cheap toilet paper and still don't have to pay a big amount of money for it.
Right. Yeah, because I can't imagine this one goes for very cheap and in nicer condition.
No.
This one cost me, I think, like $4, I think is what it ended up costing me.
Yeah. Oh, you see? Sleepy Reader thinks that soon, Terrence, you will be about Silver Age DC.
I could absolutely see that. There's something about this era, and especially the DC covers, the way they use that entire cover, I really am drawn to. But again, it's very few characters that I am kind of drawn to, and obviously the Dead Man stuff, the Spectre stuff, Phantom Stranger, and the horror books and things. Those are the big draw. I can't see myself necessarily getting into Aquaman, but that said, though, sometimes when I see those old Aquaman covers, they're incredible. They're so nice. So
just don't go.
Never say never.
Just don't go to the Neil Adams Aquaman covers, because those are pricey.
I bet they are.
There's one cover, I don't know if I can find, I'm just browsing, of Aquaman. Some of them, like, it looks really good. I'm browsing the shop.
I'll keep that in mind, Damien. Some Lois Lane and Zesty saying checkerboard era DC comics are where it's at. Oh yeah, look at that, eh?
Yeah, look at those covers as well. So that's Aquaman for you. in that era. But there's some other one that's in yellow. But oh yeah, there you go. That's the oh look, Mr. Neil Adams. And there's Deadman extras in Aquaman, by the way, as you can see here. So that's actually Neil Adams. And
Wow.
near mint for this person asking £50 for, just for issue
cover.
Of cover of the because it's Neil Adams. And then also number one. It's really beautiful covers, I must say. Look at that.
And the colors are pretty important. Same with the story that you shown off.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The colors are really jump out at you on those ones.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
almost sure that I have this in black and white in one of these showcase editions, but it's maybe it doesn't stand out as it should.
This is Nick Hardy's cover for Aquaman.
Oh yeah, Nick Hardy is beautiful.
Yeah,
Forget about it. Look at that face.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see his signature there, so that's why I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic.
Even you started to want to read the blonde guy of DC. Was supposed to be blonde guy anyway.
Gore is mentioning some Doom Patrol, and in this there was a bunch of old Doom Patrol there as well too that I just picked up and looked through. He had quite a lot of Silver Age DC stuff. It was actually, he had more DC than he had Marvel, which is unusual for when I go to the conventions here in town. It's mostly Marvel. You do see some DC, but this guy had the majority DC, so it was really nice because that's not something I often flip through anyway. So I spent a good hour there just flipping through books, and
nice.
some of the Doom Patrol stuff was really great too.
A bit. So, Terrence, how come the characters, like mysterious characters of DC, appeals to you? Is it because that mystery part of them, or?
Honestly, I think it's just because that's the stuff that appealed to me when I was a kid. It's one of those things that for me it's really nostalgia based. I think is a big draw to it, and I like that kind of magical, mystical element. And that's just something. But I think specifically for Deadman and Spectre, those had a huge impact on me as a teenager because that was the stuff I was reading and I was absolutely in love with and just drawn to. So I think there's still some of that where now I'm old enough, I can get these early appearances and I can kind of still fill that gap in when I was a kid, right? That I just couldn't afford or didn't even think about. Because when I was reading Spectre, the first volume that I read, his solo series, I had no idea. When I discovered that there was that miniseries Wrath of Spectre and finding out that it was an older character, was news to me, but I just figured I would never be able to get any of those issues. And it's not like there was an abundance of reprints of that material at that time anyway, because even that 4-issue miniseries of Wrath of Spectre, they recolored it. And I don't think, even looking back on it now, the coloring isn't that great. But now that I can afford it and now that it's out there in these little conventions and things, that stuff is way more accessible. So I'm filling that teenage gap, that need, so yeah.
That's cool. Nice. Yeah, I like the mystery part. There's one of it's a Doom Patrol. It's another one thing I always wanted to get into, but Justice League Dark has always been something I wanted to get into because there's a Zatanna and it appeals to me as the female and magician as well. I'm not sure about the outfit. It's a little bit, like you can take it or leave it. For me, female, maybe for you guys, I bet fishnet works. I mean, that's the key part. Yeah. But yeah, I have the newer version, like I think a whole run, like new 52 run. I think I don't remember what it is. But anyway, but I keep on trying to get into. I think one of the days, hopefully, I will, when I sort out this absolute mess I have in here, I can go for it. Because if it's not in my reach at the moment, I don't, I just see and my mind just goes distracted, like something I'm going to show you now. So we all love Wolf and the Cub, which I have not read. Unfortunately, so I only have the second series, which is written by Mike Kennedy, Francisco Ruiz Lavasco. So I guess when I read this Dark Horse, I was like, it's in the same pile like this one was. So this is after the whole reprinting omnibuses. So this creators, Mike Kennedy, they asked permission from the original creators of Lone Wolf and the Cub to produce the series. I read this first issue just to have a sense of feel of it, but I think I more crave the earlier whatever I saw Dr. Monkey about that time when he was speaking to us, he was talking about it because this one is no wonder it's called 2100. So it's a future Japan. The art is okay, I guess, not really my cup of tea, to be honest. Very kind of, I don't know. It just feels it's 2002. I think the coloring, it's really dark, and of course it does supposed to be portray the mood and the era. So what we're starting here, we have this guy on the cover. His name is Ito, and this girl and the baby he's carrying is girl is Daisy. So they take the same principle as Lone Wolf the Cub is the same. Have a man and a kid going on the mission, and the mission for here is apparently in 2100 in Japan. Viruses taking a toll, and kind of like it makes sense, whatever we have it going through. And this baby called Daisy, she is a scientist kid. And by being true to himself as a scientist, he has inserted this virus, which basically can kill humans. Basically, she's like a weapon number A kind of, though you see those virus movies, they say this like patient number 1 on patient A or whatever, that kind of type. So this is exactly the same kind of like a principle. And this guy Ito, who is half android, seems to be using his hands, but the way he's using them is chopping the head of this guy in here, like in nothing. He chops his head off with ease while protecting it. So they are hiding it in this ship. But they get discovered because she's been looking for her because of, she's a major key element in succession and war. So, if you want to kill millions and tons of people, she's the one to be used. So they've been looking. So in order to survive, he managed to trick them into like this kind of ships and not ships, like oh my god, planes, whatever they are. They were coming into to take them in, but he pretended it and managed to take over one of them. And he managed to survive, and they were going to escape. So this is kind of like once again a look for the beginning one, a look for those two of them and this parties who's trying to find them. It gave me a good sense of kind of like, not sense actually, but it gave me the taste. But I actually really do want the earlier one because I do like the ancient eras of Japanese times rather than these new modern ones. I understand the virus, but maybe I'm just a little bit sick of virus time of kind of like storylines, because what we are going through actually with every single day life now. But this scene, the fight scene was fantastic. It's like there's 3 guys coming, because apparently food shortage is a big thing. It's almost used as a currency, and these guys were trying to steal from this scrap yard person who's working in there, anything, whatever he has. And the guy, this Ito, came in and it's like, you know, I'm just asking for some. I have this part. I want something for it. And it's like, oh, you shouldn't. I will take it away. And they have this huge fight. And at the end of it, he slices the guy in half, which is kind of, you know, fitting for being such a douche. And he actually manages to break a steel with his bare 2 hands. So he has some mad skills, this guy. I don't know what kind of like power he has inside him, but yeah, definitely somebody you want to have if something like this happens, you know. So yeah, so it was interesting take. As I say, I have quite a few more issues to read. But I don't have the whole run. That's the thing. But I definitely want actually starting from the original ones, because honestly, seeing what Dr. One, like he was talking about it, really made me kind of like want to get into it as soon as possible. But yeah, anyway, so something I tried to get into because I found it lying around where I was trying to organize myself. So yeah,
my first reaction to the art was, this is a bit of a disgrace.
Yeah.
and example for a story that you should not continue. I mean, the art is maybe perfect for other stories, but it's Lone Wolf and Cub is just such a perfect art, and the story it all matches, and it's
That's the original one on here. You see,
it's a bit like recoloring the Mona Lisa with watercolors or so. I don't know.
No. So it says that it actually gives you a little bit of the story how 1970s Lone Wolf and Cub written by Mr. Koike, illustrated by Koseki Koima. So they talk about the informations and blah blah blah, and then that the writer, because the artist has died apparently, right in the 90s, I think, as far as I remember reading it anyway. But they asked the writer permission to do something about it. But yeah, seeing the original one, that's the thing when you go for something has been done already and you're trying to do something else with it, but really the coloring really put me off.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, because it's just it shapes and just we try to be a little bit more maybe clever with 3D kind of type of coloring, but it's just one of those examples where coloring really can destroy art sometimes.
These color hues and these grades that you can do so easily with a mouse click, but it's even this like two-tone color pages, just like splash page, but still it's missing. It's just missing. Anyway, so that's my reading. Do we still have something else to share? Yes? Yeah.
El Grey has been reading on his holiday, so...
Yeah, I can go on.
Go on. We listen.
Maybe when school starts, I'm a bit different. But I subscribed to Kush, this Latvian publisher of mini comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mini, but they are really
mini.
They are really mini. They arrive either in this as these kind of packages for mini comics, or these bigger themed. Wait a sec. These trades to a certain theme. But now this week, or the week before, this package here arrived with these 4 comics, and they are just nice examples what you can do on just a few pages. My favorite of them is this here. Obviously a Finnish guy. Yep. Essi Nieminen, or maybe a lady, I don't know. And it's about this nerd guy who plays this alternative reality game, The Sims. I never have played this, but I guess the basic idea is that you create your own world with your characters, and they live. Yeah, in a way, they live their life for you, and you can
manipulate them.
Exactly. And now, then his character goes on the toilet, and that's exactly what he does in real life. There. So, but he can't play games the whole day. He has to go to the supermarket, in which he meets this girl he has obviously some kind of crush for, and isn't able to really to talk with her. So and he comes to his own conclusion, because she has 2 little pieces of cake or tarts or something. And so he thinks, she has one boyfriend, but he doesn't ask or question or something. He's totally douchebag, uptight, and then he goes back to his home, to his computer, and plays the game. And it's a bit sad story, because then he creates this character in his computer. So
you can talk to her.
they can talk to each other and they can have all the love and life that he doesn't have. But in the end, he's,
Still lonely.
yeah, but he finds solace in this in this way. So it's not just only sad, but yeah, who knows? Maybe this lady has really a boyfriend. So yeah, not a big deal. Nothing that will change the comic world or something. And
you have more. Yes.
yeah, one more.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to go through all 4 of them, but this is a little story, Long Live the Witches, in which plays in medieval times when there were witches or wise women, and there was the plague. And what do these villagers do? Because the plague doctor tells them so, burn the witches and everything will be fine again.
Of course.
So Mignola in a nutshell. Yeah. And but then another lady here arrives and she tells them the truth with some kind of very early rock song, and this she the plague sucks. Yeah, I mean I can relate to that now. Very and so little fine story with a happy end, and these are pretty much always it's an example for what you can do with some pages. As I said, little experiments by artists that you will won't ever have heard of before.
Did you say you have a subscription to that, like a yearly subscription, or
Yeah, it's not yearly because it's not always clear how their schedule is. I guess they produce whenever they have 4 ready, then they ship them out. So it's I pay, I don't know how much for many packages. They arrive, and when the last one arrives, they give me a notice. Okay, your subscription has ended. Will you continue? And so far, I always continue the subscription because
I think my son has a couple, and I've got one as well, and he's got a couple of the thicker collected ones too. I think they're a really nice way to get a little snapshot of, like you said, artists that never heard of, might never hear of again. It's a nice little kind of look at what they're doing.
There's one by Noah Van Skyver which I could recommend, and he really used all the broke down the mini format to even smaller panels to get his stuff across, and his style really works. And it's not that they have to be all artsy fartsy, even though, or just to mention this adjective once more, even though this is stuff that you get as well. I mean, this is nice in a way, but more art orientated.
Yeah, that's really nice. It looks great, to be honest.
Yeah, very cool. That's very cool.
I was,
sorry, go ahead, Rasa.
No, you go.
So speaking of witches, one of the, I also found at this garage sale a few copies of it's 12 o'clock, The Witching Hour, from again
what is
one of my favorite logos of DC, with some of these horror books of this bat. And this cover is phenomenal. This particular issue was a lot of fun. Another one that's falling apart. I think it was, oh no, not this one. The other one was split at the spine. This one has a whole boatload of Alex Toth art in it, and it's just gorgeous. The stories with these, there's not much to say story-wise. You get a basic horror kind of premise with their sort of twist ending at the end, so nothing to write home about. But I love this page here with these silhouettes. And, we were speaking last week, Earl Grey was talking about kind of sound effects or onomatopoeias throughout. and the Toth and stuff, and especially in these horror books in general, I kind of like the way they use the sound effects. The first story is kind of the mark of the witch here. So a guy in an insane asylum. So you right away, you're off to a killer start with a horror short story. And he starts talking about this coven of witches and this this kind of ritual that's going on to get these new witches into their order that he stumbled upon and is now out there to kind of spread the word that they're taking over and they're all out to get us. Sorry, I just want to show that panel one more time because it's one of the most outstanding panels in this whole issue. There's a real almost kind of Richard Sala vibe to the way that is, but that use of black there is really, really nice. So he kind of witnesses their initiations and seeing these devils and spirits starting to surround them. And one of the things that ends up happening is, there's that page. They put a mark, the spirits put a mark on the new people here. I thought there was a very explicit panel showing that, but I guess not. Basically, oh yeah, there we go. Touching the back of their necks and kind of burning the back of their necks. And now you've been fully initiated into their order, their coven, I guess. So he's discovered some just amazing panels again, like that green and those reds. And of course, I think you can probably figure out how it's going to end. We go back to the insane asylum and the doctor that is that's kind of talking to him and kind of doing his look to see if he is clinically insane, says of course he is as he leaves, and then da-dun, da-dun, da-da, the end. So of course, but just really, really beautifully presented. Like I could look at an entire book of Alex Toth. And I wish this was the whole issue. I love how he draws this female character as well, to one of the horror hosts of the book. Really angular face and those big eyes and everything. And I can't remember what the backup. Oh yes, the backup story, a time travel story, and again taking place in a blizzard, which is fantastic. Again, nothing really to write home about, but I don't know, man. There's something about the use of color in these old horror books that are really good. This is issue number 11, by the way, of Witching Hour. I can't remember how many this ran. I don't think it was too many. I don't find them often, but I always end up grabbing them when I do because they're always a lot of fun. We get a nice transition to some yellows and blues and reds here as well too. After seeing all the whites, he basically uncovers a cave that has a time machine in the back that's like this. He's trapped in the wilderness and he's looking to escape. So, of course, he's going to go back in time to help him escape. Ends up going back too far and gets stuck in a time period. The body that he's discovered earlier on in the story, of course, turns out to be him from the past. And the message that he saw on the wall was him in the past trying to warn himself and et cetera, et cetera. So, again, maybe nothing mind-blowing story-wise, but I flipped through this one a few times last night, actually, because every page was really, really nicely done. And the other issue that I picked up, which I won't talk about too much, same thing. There was just more Toth art in it as well. And that was a big draw for me. I didn't realize he had done so much. I only have a handful of issues of this. There are later issues as well. And I don't think he shows up in those ones at all, if you know, not even like a little piece, not even the intro characters. So that was really great. And that cover is what jumped out at me. Really, really nice cover. So yeah, not much else to say other than it's always good. It's always worth picking up. These horror ones have just really come on my radar the last few years. John DaCosta is a big fan, and him and I have talked about it in the past. And it's just, they're all over the place. You tend to see them quite a bit here. Sorry, hitting the microphone there. So they're just so much fun to read through for these kind of little short stories. And I'll just show you the cover of the other one here too. Won't talk too much about it because again, pretty much the same idea.
Oh, I have that one.
Number 12.
Yeah, I have that one.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
Yeah.
this has some Toth in it. This is the one that there's a big split in that spine there, so we'll
shame.
see. But again, dirt cheap. It doesn't matter too much. They're reader copies anyway.
Yeah.
But there's some more Toth goodness on that.
Have you ever
page.
considered getting that House of Mystery omnibus?
I haven't, just because I love the single issues so much.
That's exactly the same why I didn't pick it up as well.
I think that I don't know what the treatment would have been. Here's and Toth does one story here as well too, with a bit of a different style, but still very much him.
Yeah, exactly. Crack,
and then,
look
of course,
at that.
my tag is in there, of course. So
yeah. So it's so important. He's even in Silver Age.
Yeah, that's right. I've been around for a long time, and then the second story here.
Yeah. Always
Almost
screaming
a Ditko
girls
vibes
there.
to some of it. Sorry, Rasta, say that again.
Always screaming girls there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Women in
Always
peril. You got to have that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, somebody's like Evan.
Checked out the creeps. I haven't checked out the creeps. I've seen Damien talk about it though.
Yeah, he does.
And Vampirist Carmela magazines. And I don't even know that one. Yeah, Damien has talked pretty highly of the creeps. I have seen it around. I've just never picked up a copy for myself to give it a shot.
So I've seen you guys talk. I don't know why I got into this, but anyway, I've seen you guys talk in Twitter about this guy coming out. That's why we have the cover.
Yes, Moon Knight. Yeah,
the Moon Knight. So it's just Moon Knight came out on Marvel, and it seems to be I have this habit of reading the first issue of Moon Knight and never continue with it because it's Marvel. I guess because I tend to read it digitally now. But anyway, so it's funny. So this is the Moon Knight came out. There's the first page. This is the god. The Moon Knight follows. What is his name? Cabal? No, I don't know what's his name. Is anyway. So, but Anubis is god of sun. So I'm not sure if, because Moon Knight is all about it being in the dark. Anyway, where I'm going, Russ, I think. Anyway, so but because of that issue, I actually have some of the issues of this run, which is Finch and Huston run, and I actually, after reading the first one, which I'm not talking about, it just came out, but I enjoyed this issue way more than the first issue, just Marvel, which came out. It's Finch's art, which I didn't dislike that much, to be honest. Finch's is not very favorite of mine. He liked to do lots of things in the DC world. So seeing him doing Moon Knight in the Marvel, and that's the Moon Knight for Finch's Moon Knight. There you go. That's a bit more full screen. The button. Anyway, so the principle seems to be all the time of the Moon Knight. The issue which came out, the principle is there's vampires and Moon Knight is protecting his people from the, like the places. In here, it seems to be he's just protecting people at night, and there's this robbery happens and Moon Knight gets involved, of course. And there's this guy looking at him, and you can see the face. It's actually where Finch done really well, where he's absolutely petrified. The only thing he sees is the moon crescent. And it's supposed to be what one gripe I have about this issue in particular, that Moon Knight's supposed to be all white, but the way this coloring that was done and the use of blacks made this figure doesn't look like really white at all, even though it's even in here it says they shake because they actually can see me. It's his purpose. Like, it's not like a Batman who's like always creeps in the shadows. Moon Knight he wants to see you to see him, because this is the whole point. Because after seeing him, what you shoot yourself from being frightened. Anyway, but he doesn't pull punches anyway. And he has this beautiful ship. He looks like crescent. So that was kind of intriguing and stuff like that. There's a better shot of that. Anyway, so I when I was reading that first issue which came out, I just wanted to have a sample of it. But then of course, when I'm looking at through and organizing it, I discovered that I have some of the issues of this run. And it's quite entertaining. And this is him imagining a good life of him being normal. Like Moon Knight, it seems to be these days Moon Knight is portrayed as his psyche is really, because he has so many personalities, because he's been reliving those lives, you know, like he lives, dies, gets reborn again by his god. And then you see just, you know, he's keep on imagining the same thing, and then always there's something different in it. It's like in this psyche, you know, like everything is good, I see the same person, something like that. So it's a little bit crazy. And the punchline on this one, spoiler alert, Moon Knight actually is incredible. He's not walking. He's drugs, alcohol, and because he can't walk anymore, he is not who he's supposed to be.
The right leg looks a bit crazy.
Yeah, the right leg looks like a short. Yeah. That's the Finch's drawback. Okay, it's like, oh, don't worry about the shadows, because the shadows are really wrong on the foot there. Yeah. Anyway, so it looks like it's been he was born a little bit with one short leg. Anyway, but then he's hassled with himself, and apparently he is a wife beater. And that's why she left him behind. So he is always, you know, in struggles and stuff like that. So as entertaining as it is, and that's where the picture I got from the front cover, because I really enjoyed this portrayal of this god, because the way you can see the figure better than in the first issue, which just came out recently. I really liked the run from Greg Smallwood on colors, and Jeff Lemire drew Moon Knight that time. Because of, I don't know, I just enjoyed the writing, but I never finished, because that's my wave of Moon Knight. I never finished to actually fully understand Moon Knight. I never discovered until the end of a storyline. It's intriguing for me, the god side of it, because this new edition, which came out just this week, I presume, is that the god is the guy who is next to Moon Knight doesn't agree the way he portrays the god, how he's the right hand of the god, and he's not using his powers rightly. So it's all about that kind of like god, his psyche. He's struggling to be who he wants to be, but he also is protector from people, you know, who is in this town and stuff like that. So it was intriguing just to look. I'm going to continue reading this Finch run because it's on Unlimited run. Because the other one I had to go through Comixology, because I'm not a big fan of that. I'd rather have it Marvel for a bit cheaper than paying £4, I think. I paid digitally, which is absolutely bonkers. I don't know why I did it. I guess I went on the spirit on just wanted to discover something new and see if it's something more intriguing in that comic book. But generally,
the new series really has a lot of hype behind it. It seems to be
intriguing.
Kind of the big thing. Yeah.
I haven't shared the art. I can share the art. This is the art.
Yeah, when
style.
Damien showed the interior, I wasn't as impressed with the interior. At least the pages I saw, anyway.
Yeah, so this is how the Moon Knight is, and they're fighting, and there's this character, I think, so this is how he lost the first life. He was a mercenary. He got killed by this god because he was in this temple. This god basically resurrected him and became the Moon Knight. And in this storyline, he is all about talking with a psychiatrist who is keep on having conversation with him, just to see how his head is going on. But one part is intriguing, is about this dude, this guy. But I'm not going to tell you why, because it's a big spoiler. But this guy is like, oh, it's Nicolas Cage, but it's not. By the way, it's not a spoiler, because that's not the guy anyway. But this is part intriguing. It's actually quite would be interesting to read further, but I don't tend to follow the recent things what Marvel writing. I'm just curiously sometimes jump in and see if I have something more liking towards them, but I usually don't. So
yeah, some of the covers really caught my attention. Apparently, there's a Bill Sienkiewicz variant cover that even on the day it just skyrocketed in price. So that kind of nonsensical game, but the covers of the main ones, the art looked intriguing. But again, it's happens with every company, happens with every comic. That art just didn't translate to the interiors. I haven't seen it in person yet, though, so I may flip through it at the shop just to see.
Yeah, it's I read it and it was entertaining. Was it worth the money I spent? No, definitely not. That's my own, just my pure opinion. I will wait if I'm going to continue with Marvel Unlimited, I usually take a break, like month. That's the beauty of the Unlimited. You can just break off, come back 1 month, and then you can go away, and you're not feeling ashamed for spending money, like the way I feel sometimes, like. Anyway, so yeah, that was the Moon Knight part of mine. I don't know why, but is there around? I remember I even read or tried to read one of the epic, the early Moon Knight, which is people recommending that to read, but I can't go through it. It just does. They said there's a part where you have to go through it, and then it gets really, really good, and I can't go through that part. Like, just why? It's like I can't. It just doesn't read right. Like you read and you're like, no, this is just like so slow, and it give me more information. I want to get more excited about it, but so I keep on delaying that, and I keep, like I said, this is my way of dealing with Moon Knight. It seems to be I try, but I never go through completely with it. So anyway, so Earl Grey, some more.
Do you want to go another round?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Go.
No problem.
No problem.
I ordered with Kush together with the minis. This time they had some special offering from one guy who goes by the handle of Sampler Man, and this is not the new thing, but I just wanted to show off this pretty quickly because this is maybe my favorite publication of Kush.
Back in the Tumblr days, I used to follow him on Tumblr. He had some incredible stuff. Really, really amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he just doesn't tell stories or not stories that are very obvious, but he fools around with comic-like structures. He's really in a world of his own, and I mean, really, literally, this is Damien said something about comics that are that you can't remember actually because they're so weird, and this is the epitome of being weird in a fantastic way. This is so I actually didn't want to show this because this is old stuff and unfortunately out of print, but you can get one of his newer stuff here, Anatomie Narrative. However, I guess it's Anatomie Narrative because it's a French publication, but you can get it via this Kush website where you can order all the Kush stuff, and I guess it's without postage wherever you order it in the world, from the US, Canada, hint, or somewhere else. It's just not €9. Just I'm saying, even though it's a flimsy book, but you'll see it's just amazing. And he goes by the human anatomy from head to the feet down and does his collage stuff. His
jeez,
I mean, smokes.
It's beyond any description you can come up with, and yeah, holy smokes, that's really the only thing. It's printed on some oldish muddy paper, so the colors don't pop really, but you would hurt your brain if these color would be really intense, and it fits. However, this I'm he takes I don't know if you can see this, but he takes samples from hence his artist name, from old comics, maybe Silver Age, Golden Age, whatever, and puts them into new structures. And he really goes through the whole human body. So this has actually a theme. These are I don't know if you can see this, but these are ears, and this is the snake.
The snake you want to hear from. Yeah,
and and so on and so on. It's just a beauty, and I'm so glad that I've ordered this stuff here from this guy.
It's funny with his earlier stuff, like you were saying, you really get the sense of he's really just sampling and playing with stuff. This one seems like a really nice blend of what's he sampling and manipulating versus what he's added of his own. It looks incredible. Wow, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it still doesn't really add up to some to no story or
of course,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's a kind of a concept that he follows through this publication. it's just totally bonkers. I even don't know how I should turn the page here. Maybe so or so. Sometimes it's a bit too wild, so you have no idea where to start. But there's an overview in the beginning, a summary, unfortunately in French. As far as my French even goes, this is, and I suppose yours as well. You can guess what, together with the pictures, what it's all about. Okay. So yeah, this is. I'm really curious if he ever will try to tackle a real, in quotes, story. But as far as his works go, this is highly recommended so far.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's funny though, like it's one of those ones that I always associate him with that visual style where it's one of the rare occasions where it really sticks with you, where it doesn't really matter. It becomes like an art book to some degree and just using kind of comics to create something more abstract. But I mean, I distinctly remember first discovering him on Tumblr and just being fascinated by these posts that he would do kind of daily. He was one of those that I would check in on every day just to see what he was doing. Really impressive. I'm glad that he's still around. That's great. I'll be looking for that one. Free shipping and all.
Yeah. And you can order something else by these Kush guys. But I really assume that he could have lots of success in the fine arts world if he wanted to, because there are a lot of painters and modern art craze, and I'm not always sure if they really live up to their promise and fame, and Damien would say they appear in the New Yorker, so this high level of celebrity status. But there's this other guy, one of the most famous German painters of today, Neo Rauch, who really does the same trick, but just with a very lower complexity. He just takes some kind of samples from old comics, does it in his own own fashion, and puts them together in huge paintings. I mean, I love his stuff, but the prices are just that's even the first thing you have to accept, that the prices are just the prices, and let's go along with the art. You can enjoy it. Never. Yeah.
Does the paintings you're talking about, they are big sized paintings?
Neo Rauch.
Yeah.
He's one of these East German painters from the Leipzig school, and they're huge, and they scream important and give me your money, and he has succeeded, and it has a surrealist vibe to them, and
I've learned one thing which I wasn't realized, but apparently artists use the square footages in order to find out what kind of money price they usually give to the the price they work. So that's I'm not saying that every single one of them does it. Of course, if you're famous, you probably exaggerate your price quite nicely, because if it's people want it. But apparently, if you calculate square footage of your painting, you could, especially if a big size, so definitely it would be a big price for that, because because I'm curious, I I do enjoy drawing. I always wanted to basically do more and blah blah blah, but never like the problem is by price selling points, like you never know how you price your own artwork. And apparently this one thing I found out is like, you calculate your square footage. So like, really, do you do that? But you have to be extremely confident with what you sell, and you have to be quite consistent in what you're doing. So it's just one thing. We just mentioned the artist, and I was like, oh, I just clicked something, I found information. I was researching.
And it's I think it's totally impossible to do really something new. I mean,
No, yeah.
Yeah, the prices for the Impressionists also, I totally get it, because they really invented new stuff, and up to the Surrealists and Dadaists and so on. But I think at some point in time, maybe postmodernists or something, everything was tried. Yeah, I digress completely. But the other guy that comes close to Neo Rauch and is actually in the illustration and comics world is Ryan Heshka. Ryan Heshka's art and Neo Rauch's art are very close to each other. One guy is a cartoonist who makes a bit of money, I guess, but the other guy is this big painter overlord of. So
I've talked about it before. So Ryan Heshka is ex-Winnipeg. Actually, he lived here. Somebody that I know in film, her sister was married to him for a time. He's doing the Blab anthology that was out kind of 90s. It's coming back, and he's doing the cover for the first one. I'm not sure what the release date is on it. So kind of another anthology to add to the mix of maybe newer alternative. And he also did a Black Widow story in that Marvel miniseries that was phenomenal. Really nice work in that. Yeah, it's incredible.
When was it?
That's that newer Marvel series, the one that I think it was the second last issue, possibly. It was near the end of that run. Anyway, if I remember, next time I'll pull it out and I'll show you, because it's inside in the basement. But yeah, his stuff is fantastic, really good. He's a good follow on Instagram as well too, because he shares quite a bit.
The Mean Girls Club he did for No Brow.
Right, that's right.
It's just a nice piece of comic art.
I see. Okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. I don't have much necessarily to talk about to end it off, but I did want to show this beauty. Beaten all to get out of town, chewed up on the corners. Everything, but it's
somebody had the taste for it.
They absolutely did. It's the last one that they needed for completing my issue 9 to issue 300.
Oh yes, that's the one.
And
yes,
it seems to be the one that for some reason is just impossible to find. So I snatched it out of the bin, and he was very apologetic. He's like, it's this, that. I'm like, honestly, don't worry about it. I want it. It's okay. You don't have to be concerned. I'm not bringing it back. So that was an exciting garage sale find. And just the final one, I think Damien talked about it last week. I got this Ordinary Gods, the first issue. It's pretty great. I enjoyed this first issue. It's good to it left a lot of questions. I thought it was a really good setup. The art kind of fluctuated for me from really enjoying it, especially some of the facial features here. When we get into stuff like this facial feature specifically, I mean, obviously this is amazing as well, but the look of all the lines in his face, really intriguing to give a little bit of character to it.
Who's it by?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Who is it by?
Let's get the names here. Let's do the credits.
Would be nice.
Kyle Higgins is the writer. Felipe Watanabe is the artist, and then Frank William does the colors. So there's the.
Okay,
there you
cool.
go there.
Kyle Higgins.
And then of course another one, because everybody's playing this game these days. 10 ton of variant covers, which this is one that I fell into the trap of. But it was an enjoyable read. This idea of these kind of gods throughout time that just keep kind of recreating themselves in the body of somebody new. our main character, we start to get the sense that he's attached somehow, and we don't really know how. I won't go any further than this in showing you pages, but an intriguing premise. I'll probably stick around with it just to try it out. But like I said, I think Damien talked about it possibly last week. I can't remember when this came out. Yes, again, I like that. I just like the way the face breaks up there with this kind of lines and the scarring in that particular case. So, yeah, intriguing book. Another image. It always seems like when I go to the shops, it's the independent and the image books and stuff that end up jumping out at me. You know, even though I still flip through the Marvel and DC, those are the ones that stand out more to me anyway. And that was my reading this week. That's it. That's all I did.
Yeah. That's why I did before that. Moonlight was my last two things I read. I just couldn't do it anymore because of the too busy around in the garden fighting my cucumbers. Like bloody, because it is a heat wave. I have cucumbers. Now there's no heat wave. There's like lots of rain, no cucumbers. It's like, oh my God. It's like just too much of gardening problems. Yeah. Earl Grey, do you still have something else to share?
No.
You're done as well.
Yeah, we could wrap it up if you want.
Yeah, we have wrapped it. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much to all of you who showed up. So we have a lot of you: Mind the Comics, Go Vidal, Ragamuffin, Zesty Clam, Scott Connor, Halex the Mighty, Irvin, Muba.
We had some new names today too, which is great.
Yeah. So sorry, Irvin, I can't pronounce your surname. So whoever else, Sleep Leader, of course, came through. So hopefully he's okay. Adzoma came through. So thank you very much. Next week, I don't know who we're gonna go to. Is it
probably be Earl Grey, because I think Damien couldn't make it again next week either.
I'm afraid I couldn't make it next week.
Me too.
Okay, then great.
Okay.
We'll see you
it's a break week. Yeah. Okay, guys. So next week we're not going to show up. So it's good to basically tell you that now. I'm going camping. Would you believe or not? That's something
Excellent.
I am really afraid of because my COVID brain still like COVID things are really kind of thing. But I had to get out. I have to. We all as a family have to get out. So we're doing the camping for a couple of days, which I'm actually really looking forward to. But people. Because we're actually doing it with people. There's like it's a festival with a camping. So
wow.
Wish me luck. So if you see
good luck.
after that week, so it should be okay then. Hopefully.
Just drink lots of alcohol. You'll kill any viruses that happen to be floating around. You'll be good.
Let's hope so, eh? Anyway, thank you, people, and we'll see you for sure.
Right on. See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.